I want you to imagine a scenario that sends just absolute shivers down the spine of literally any developer on the planet.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, you probably do. So picture yourself sitting at your desk, right? You pull up your main code repository, and it tells you this very reassuring story. It says your system is perfectly configured, the features are enabled, everything is running smoothly.
But let me guess, reality is a bit different.
Exactly. You look at your live running production system, and it's telling you a completely different story. The code says one thing, but reality says another.
Yeah, that's the dreaded split brain infrastructure. It is, honestly, an absolute nightmare scenario for any engineering team.
Right.
Because your source of truth is just suddenly fractured. You no longer know if a bug is caused by the environment itself has secretly drifted away from the blueprint.
Yeah, your repo says A, your runtime says B, like your UI routes are pointing to dead ends, your deployment topologies look like ghost towns, and your operator workspace. The tools you actually use to fix things is completely out of sync with the cloud.
Which is terrifying.
It really is. So welcome to this deep dive. Today, our mission is to explore a fascinating stack of engineering documents you've brought to us.
Specifically, the AMOF Clean Start Convergence Strategic Roadmap, along with its operations plans.
Right. We are going to uncover exactly how a massive, complex system achieves a perfectly synchronized, clean daily driver state when basically everything has gone sideways.
Yeah, because we're looking at a system that realized it needs a massive systemic intervention, and the documents you're talking about outline how they align their code, their UI, their deployments, and their workspaces, all without breaking the live system in the process.
Which seems impossible.
It does, but they achieve it by leaning on three main pillars: a rigid 9-phase execution discipline, a unified ticket routing architecture, and incredibly strict release governance.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because fixing a split brain system isn't like, I don't know, fixing your home router.
No, definitely not.
You can't just reboot everything, clear the cache, cross your fingers, and hope it syncs up. You need an airtight methodology.
Right.
Looking at the roadmap's cross-slice execution discipline, it really reminds me of trying to perform open-heart surgery on a marathon runner while they are currently running the race.
That is a perfect analogy, actually.
Right, you cannot make broad, sweeping sledgehammer changes. You need ultimate microscopic precision or the whole system just comes crashing down.
Exactly. Because if you stop the runner, the system dies. If your scalpel slips, the system dies. So their core rule for this operation is brilliantly paranoid.
Paranoid how?
Well, the mandate is to execute exactly one bounded slice of work at a time. A developer cannot even begin the next slice of the conversions plan until the current one is successfully committed to the origin main branch, rolled out, and verified live.
Oh, wow. And the way they validate that success is where it gets really interesting, especially for anyone listening who writes code.
Right, the validation precedence.
Yeah, they check things in a very specific non-negotiable order. First, they check the live API JSON response. Then, the live UI route behavior.
Which makes sense.
Right. Then they look for cluster evidence in the cloud, then local renders on their own machine, and only finally, at the very bottom of the list, do they run static tests.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. Usually, we all run our local static tests first. If the tests pass, we assume the code is good to go.
Right, but what's fascinating here is that in a split brain scenario, static tests are essentially a mirage.
A mirage.
Yeah, because if your environment has drifted, a static test passing on your local machine means absolutely nothing about the reality of the live platform. Engineers fall into this psychological trap all the time. They trust the green check marks on their local terminal.
Right, the local terminal is safe.
Exactly, but the AMOF architects recognize that the live API is the beating heart of the system. If sending a curl request to the live platform returns the wrong JSON structure, the system is broken, no matter how beautiful your local static tests look.
That is so true.
They are forcing the team to prioritize actual running reality over theoretical compile time correctness.
Which fundamentally changes the rules of engagement for the operators themselves. I mean, the engineers can't just say a task is complete because their pull request was approved.
Right. Done is defined by hard acceptance criteria against that live API, not by what feels finished to the developer. And part of maintaining that discipline involved what the roadmap calls strict non-touch rules.
The untouchables. Yeah, we see this in the documents where certain historical reservoirs of data are completely off limits.
Yeah.
Like, they specifically mention the byte-stable demo microsys symbols or the master ultra plan documents. You aren't allowed to rewrite historical files just to make the new system look perfectly cohesive.
Which is so hard to resist, right? It is incredibly tempting during a massive refactor to go back and clean up old architectural docs or old demo files so they match the new naming conventions.
Oh, absolutely.
But the AMOF roadmap explicitly forbids that. You cannot rewrite history to cover up the messy evolution of the system. Furthermore, every single slice of this convergence must land from a clean, detached work tree.
Right. They explicitly mention landing the work in a temporary folder like /2mp/mof slice phaseed.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever worked in Git, you know how messy a local checkout gets. You've got uncommitted files, experimental scripts you forgot to delete, weird environment
It's
variables.
total chaos.
Exactly. And if you push from that dirty workspace, you might accidentally commit a fragment of that chaos into the core system.
Right, so creating a detached work tree in a temporary directory guarantees you're only submitting the exact bounded changes you intend to make. It strips away all the developer's local baggage. It's sterile.
So with those surgical, highly sterile rules established, what does this actual operation look like?
Right, the 9 phases.
Yeah, the Clean Start Convergence outlines 9 distinct phases. Let's walk through the critical beats because the order they do things in is practically a masterclass in staging a recovery.
It really is.
Phase 1 doesn't even touch the main code repository or the documentation. It focuses purely on live API truth and the operator side projection, specifically a file called .amof/state.json.
And the acceptance criteria for phase 1 are hyper-specific. The operators have to ensure there are absolutely 0 GitHub owner substrings and 0 AMOF backend entries leaking into that live response.
They treat those old strings like a virus.
Exactly. They have to stop the bleeding in the live state first, before they even think about cleaning up the code base.
Because, I mean, if they fix the code first, but the live system is still projecting the old state, they haven't actually fixed the split brain. They've just shuffled it around.
Right.
So once the live API is truthful and the UI roots are fixed in phase 2, they finally earn the right to move to phases 3 and 4.
Which is the canonical truth cleanup.
Exactly. This is where they scrub all mentions of a AMOF backend from the Kubernetes manifests, the Helm charts, the deployment scripts, the docs. The whole system undergoes a hard convergence, renaming itself from Appointment Thinking Assistant to just AMOF Assistant.
And notice the restraint in their methodology there. During phase 3, the engineers are explicitly forbidden from touching the live runtime.
Because they already cleaned it in phase 1.
Exactly. Phase 3 is purely about making the canonical Git repository match the clean reality they just established in the cloud. By completely separating the correction of the live state from the correction of the code base, they prevent any new drift from being introduced.
Yeah, makes total sense. Moving into phases 5 and 6, the roadmap gets deeply structural. The documentation states they extract a universal Argo pattern.
Right.
For anyone not living in the Kubernetes ecosystem every day, Argo, specifically Argo CD, is a tool used for declarative continuous delivery. It essentially automates the deployment of applications to a cluster based on the configuration stored in Git.
Yeah, and by standardizing this into a universal pattern, AMOF doesn't have to manually hard-code deployment scripts for every single new app ecosystem they introduce.
It creates a plug-and-play mechanism.
Exactly. And they immediately put that new mechanism to the test in phase 6 by introducing GMD, which stands for Google Microservices Demo, as their new canonical app ecosystem.
They point the system to a real external GitHub repo to serve as the foundational app that AMOF uses to test and deploy itself.
Yep.
But wait, reading through this is where I have to push back on their strategy a bit.
Okay, what's the issue?
Well, if they successfully introduce this shiny new GMD ecosystem in phase 6, why on earth don't they just delete the old, retired demo Microsoft ecosystem right then and there?
Yeah.
You're doing a cleanup.
Right.
The outline shows they pushed the retirement of the old system all the way to phase 7. Why leave the old deprecated junk running in the system a minute longer than you have to?
Well, that delay is entirely intentional. It's driven by a concept they call hard gate admissibility rule.
A hard gate.
Yeah. Think about the physical timing of a cloud deployment. If you retire the old demo microSARS system in phase 6 before the new GMD system is materially deployable, verified, and emitting a healthy heartbeat, what happens if the GMD deployment fails?
Oh, you've deleted the old routing system, the new system didn't boot properly, and now you have created a complete void.
Exactly. A no canonical app ecosystem window. You would essentially induce a completely new catastrophic split brain failure while trying to fix the original one.
Wow.
The system would lose its routing capabilities entirely, the automated tests would fail across the board, the core API would have a null reference.
So it's a safety net.
Yes, the hard gate in Phase 7 dictates that you cannot execute the deletion of demo microsaws unless Phase 6 holds perfectly, and GMD is confirmed materially deployable on the actual cloud dev cluster. If the new system isn't demonstrably ready, the pipeline physically stops. You do not proceed.
Okay, that makes sense. And because they successfully navigate that hard gate without causing a new outage, they've finally earned the right to do what most engineers want to do on day one, wipe the slate clean.
Exactly.
That brings us to Phase 8, the clean reset of all the runtime environments, local workspaces, and ticket histories to the new canonical main branch. And finally, Phase 9 acts as an independent end-to-end proof that the Happy Path actually works on the newly unified live system.
It's incredibly methodical.
It is.
Ew.
But executing 9 perfectly bounded phases across a massive infrastructure with multiple engineers, that requires intense organizational control.
Yeah.
How do they route the actual work of all these people without crossing wires and ruining the sterile environment they just created?
Well, that brings us to their unified ticket routing system, which is arguably the most rigorous part of this entire document stack.
Here's where it gets really interesting for you, the listener. Think about the last time you opened a Jira ticket or a GitHub issue for your team. You probably just created the ticket, assigned it to yourself, and started coding whatever you wanted.
Right, the usual chaos.
Exactly. But in the AMOF infrastructure, their ticket routing is not just a Kanban board. It is designed like a high-security highway system with heavily armed toll booths.
That's a good way to put it.
You can't just drive your code anywhere you want. You need a specific lane assignment at a very specific checkpoint.
Right, and the default rule sounds simple, but it's critical for their governance. One logical AMOF ticket per piece of work. There is no automatic split between public and private repositories at the very start of a task. It begins as one unified concept.
But how that work travels from the developer's laptop to the live environment depends entirely on their highly regulated lane vocabulary.
Yeah, they break it down into these distinct lanes.
You've got the public lane, there's the installable surface, the public API contracts, the open source facing code. Then you have the private lane, which is deeply guarded.
Very guarded.
This lane houses the gateway logic, the security policies, and what they call the orchestration intelligence.
Essentially the proprietary logic of how the system governs itself.
Exactly. Then there is the operator lane, which is reserved just for maintenance scripts, cryptographic receipts, and internal documentation. The evidence-only lane is exactly what it sounds like, architecture decisions or logs captured for historical record that never get deployed as running code.
Right.
And my personal favorite, the kill lane.
Oh.
Discarded work. In this system, even discarded, abandoned work gets a ticket and a recorded reason for why it was killed.
Yeah, and to enforce this strict highway system, the architects implemented the checkpoint protocol. At every single checkpoint in the development cycle, whether that's a local commit, a pull request, or a CI pipeline run, the operator must physically emit a lane classification.md snippet.
Which effectively acts as a toll ticket. You literally cannot merge your branch or push your code if you don't present that exact classification snippet at the pipeline checkpoint.
No, you can't. Artifacts absolutely cannot move forward to delivery without that explicit lane assignment. The absolute worst case scenario for this organization is private orchestration intelligence accidentally leaking into the public lane.
Right, because if the proprietary logic dictating how their AI models reason and govern themselves ends up at a public repository.
They've lost their entire strategic intellectual property.
Right.
The checkpoint protocol makes that kind of accidental leak mechanically impossible. Work destined for the public lane must originate from a dedicated script called startpublicticket.ish. Work for the private lane originates from startprivateticket.ish.
The file streams never cross.
Exactly.
Okay, so the tickets are routed, the lanes are respected, the 9 phases are executed flawlessly, and the code base is finally clean. But what happens if the timeline itself is broken?
Ooh, yeah.
How do you safely release all of this beautifully synchronized code if the actual history of your releases is damaged? Because according to these sources, their release timeline suffered a major anomaly.
They experienced what the operations plan calls an escaped direct release commit for version 2.8.1.
Escaped direct release commit. Sounds like a dinosaur broke out of its paddock.
Honestly, in a governed software environment, it is equally dangerous. It means a release completely bypassed the automated pipeline-driven promotion flow, what they call their synthetic promotion flow.
So someone went rogue.
Basically, instead of the system meticulously building, testing, and tagging the release, a human being forced a commit directly into the timeline. The Git tag was pointing to the wrong place, the packaging metadata was out of sync, it created a historical paradox in their version control.
Wow. And this triggers the AMOF release governance 001 stream. The specific goal of this operation is to repair that escaped commit and enforce the synthetic promotion flow retroactively.
Right.
But hold on, rewriting release history sounds like trying to fix a time travel paradox in a sci-fi movie. If other systems or even users are relying on that live 2.8.1 system, isn't mutating the Git history incredibly dangerous? Like you could orphan thousands of dependencies.
Oh, it is arguably the most dangerous operation you can perform in version control, which is exactly why the physical safeguards they detail in the roadmap are so extreme.
Right.
If we connect this to the bigger picture we discussed earlier, this level of governance isn't just about making the Git commit graph look pretty for the developers. It is about maintaining absolute sovereignty over the runtime truth.
Because if the automated systems cannot trust the cryptographic history of what version is actually running, you cannot govern the platform.
Exactly. To execute this time travel fix without destroying the environment, history mutation is strictly forbidden by the pipeline unless a very specific manual safety gate is present in the environment.
The environment variable.
Yes, the AMO confirm release history repair equals yes variable. If that variable is absent, the automated system stops dead in its tracks, refuses to mutate the history, and writes a blocked receipt to the logs.
It's literally a nuclear launch key. Two people have to turn it.
Yeah. And even if the key is turned, the requirements to proceed are massive. They have to fix the packaging metadata so that both the pipex environment, which is the tool used to install and isolate Python command line apps, and the AMOF CLI itself report the exact same 2.8.1 version string.
They have to back up all current Git references too.
Right. The system only allows a force push to the repository if it calculates that the change is mathematically safe.
And my favorite part is the final verification. They don't just run a test script. They verify everything by doing a completely fresh clone of the repository into a new machine and testing the installation from scratch.
Which is so smart.
They treat the repaired repository as an untrusted foreign object until it physically proves it can compile and run perfectly from a completely blank slate.
They do not trust the repaired timeline until they have physically walked down it themselves.
It's exhaustive. I mean, we've covered detached work trees, hard-gate admissibility rules, highway lane classifications, and literal history mutation launch keys.
It's a lot.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this? Why go to these agonizing lengths just to sync up some code in a live server? When you zoom out, the AMOF documentation we've been deep diving into isn't really just a guide to updating software. It's a masterclass in treating code repositories, live runtimes, and operator workspaces as a single, unified organism. An organism that has to be governed with surgical precision.
It represents a profound shift in engineering perspective. If you look at the AMO Takes Control manifesto included in the source stack, it reveals the true motivation behind all this paranoia and strict governance.
The real reason.
Yeah, the engineers realized they were no longer just building a simple API wrapper for AI models.
Right. They talk about how large language models, whether it's GPT, Claude, or whatever comes next, are no longer just models. They are becoming complex runtime systems all by themselves. The SaaS vendors who host these models own the orchestration, they own the tool routing, and they own the hidden reasoning loops happening behind the scenes.
And the AMO architects had a stark realization. If they just build thin wrappers around these massive vendor platforms, they become mere tenants inside someone else's cognition runtime.
They lose control.
Exactly. So this entire execution discipline, the sterile phases, the strict lanes, the history mutation locks is their response. They are actively shifting AMF from a software tool into a governed cognition runtime.
They aren't just managing Python scripts or Kubernetes pods anymore.
They are managing inference authority. They want to own the orchestration loop entirely, and they want to use the vendor AI models merely as interchangeable execution workers. And the key to maintaining the absolute sovereignty over the AI is their heavy reliance on cryptographic receipts.
The hash-only receipts. They keep bringing these up in the operator lanes.
Yep.
They store these receipts in a secure bucket, logging the request ID, the specific AI provider used, the latency, and cryptographic hashes of the input prompt and the output response. Crucially, they do this without logging the raw text prompts, which protects user privacy while still proving the event happened.
Those receipts are the ultimate observability tool for this new era. They provide absolute provenance. They provide an auditable mathematical ledger of machine cognition. AMOF is arguing through this architecture that cryptographic receipts are the equivalent of observability and logging for AI reasoning systems. Without them, you have opaque, untrustable cognition happening in a vendor's black box. With them, you have verifiable runtime truth.
Which leaves us with a truly fascinating thought for you to mull over as we wrap up. If hash-only receipts are now functioning as the foundational observability for cognition systems, how long is it until we design AI platforms that don't just passively log their actions for human engineers to read, but actively use their own cryptographically secure receipts to autonomously govern and self-correct their future reasoning loops?
Oh, that's wild. Imagine a system that inherently audits its own past mathematical thoughts to guarantee the safety and alignment of its future decisions,
Yeah.
using the very infrastructure rules we just discussed.
We started this deep dive talking about the visceral dread of a split-brain system, of looking at that murky, unclear diagnostic X-ray where the code and the live reality simply do not match.
What AMOF is building with this roadmap isn't just a complicated fix for a cloud sync issue. They're building the ultimate high-definition X-ray for AI cognition itself. They are ensuring that the brain, the body, and the thoughts of the system are always perfectly, undeniably aligned. Thanks for diving deep with us today. Keep questioning the architecture of the systems you build, and we'll see you next time.
Not every signal is a repo. Not every folder is truth. First we adopt it. Then we decide what it is. A zip from nowhere, a folder full of ghosts, screenshots in the dark, docs nobody owns, branches from the old world, exports from the rush, media in fragments, context in the dust. Don't sink the chaos, don't bless the mess. Read the shape first, then choose what comes next. AMOF adopt. Bring it into light. Hash the shadow. Name the source. Make the boundary tight. AMOF adopt. Not everything moves. Replay now. Replay later. Defer. Kill. Approve. What is this thing? Source, context, artifact, evidence. Don't guess. Classify. Then act. AMOF adopt. From noise to form. One clean packet, one clear storm. AMOF adopt. The system knows what should be carried and what never goes. No magic sync, no hidden hand. Context enters, truth will stand. AMOF takes control. But first we draw the line. Sit down. Show me the evidence. Not the story. Not the vibe. The evidence. You said it works, but where's the run? Where's the receipt? Where's the thing you've done? You said it's ready, but ready for what? A demo in your head or a system that won't rot? No more magic folders, no more hidden keys, no more sync confusion, bring the truth to me. Strict mode, cut the noise, one clean checkpoint, one real choice. Strict mode, don't lose control, AMOF takes control, but the proof must show. Local means local, cloud means cloud. Say it in the contract, say it out loud. If it's not in main, it's not automatically gold. Replay now or kill it, don't carry every ghost. What must be true? What did you verify? What changed? What should die? Takes control when the receipts don't fall. Good. Now do one bounded slice. Then stop. Sit down. Show me the evidence. Not the story. Not the vibe. The evidence. You said it works, but where's the run? Where's the receipt? Where's the thing you've done? You said it's ready, but ready for what? A demo in your head or a system that won't rot? No more magic folders, no more hidden keys, no more sync confusion, bring the truth to me. A strict mode, cut the noise, one clean checkpoint, one real choice. Strict mode, don't lose control, AMOF takes control, but the proof must show. Local means local, cloud means cloud. Say it in the contract, say it out loud. If it's not in main, it's not automatically gold. Replay now or kill it, don't carry every ghost. What must be true? What did you verify? What changed? What should die? Die, 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 die. to unbounded slice. Then stop. Work commission online. Receipts initialized. Runtime truth acquired. No wrappers, no guessing. No blind automation. Late night terminal glow. 20 tabs and nowhere to go. Chrome keeps spawning hidden ghosts. Token fire, vendor hosts. Main is truth, noise is dead. Hash the context, move ahead. Run token, remote IAL. Console visible, receipts prevail. Bounded loop, policy gate, operator awake. No escape! AMOF govern workstation. Runtime truth in operation. Hash only, receipts below. Own the loop, control the flow. AMOF govern workstation. Inference under observation. No raw prompts, no secret leak. Receipts online, system speak. Garage smoke and neon screens. 4 a.m. infrastructure dreams. Google export cluster fate. Contracts first before we migrate. Agent Shell was talking wide. Old plan mode exposed the lie. Chat plan cuts the noise away. Evidence decides the day. No helm yet, no secret spray. No generic YAML, not today. Repo truth, contracts clean. Cluster waits for what we mean. AMOF govern workstation. Runtime, truth in operation. Only receipts below. Own the loop, control the flow. AMOF govern workstation. Inference under observation. No raw prompts, no secret leak. Receipts online, system speak. Console track. Workstation track. Not the same surface. Same runtime truth. Operator sees. Workstation proves. AMOF move. Govern workstation. Control ignition. Remote IAL. Receipt transmission. Govern workstation. No hallucination. Main is canonical. AMOF takes control. Session complete. Evidence persisted. No raw secrets. No fake progress. AMOF holds the line. Workstation online. Receipts initialized. Runtime truth acquired. No wrappers. No guessing. No blind automation. Late night terminal glow. 20 tabs and nowhere to go. Chrome keeps vendor hosts. Main is truth, noise is dead. Hash the context, move ahead. Run token, remote IAL, console visible, receipts prevail. Bounded loop, policy gate, operator awake, no escape. AMOF governed workstation, runtime truth in operation.
Only receipts below.
Own the loop, control the flow. AMOF governed workstation, inference under observation.
No raw prompts, no secret leak.
Receipts online, system speak. Garage smoking neon screens, 4 a.m. infrastructure dreams. Google export cluster fake contracts first before we migrate. Agent shell was talking wide. Old plan mode exposed the lie. Chat plan cuts the noise away. Evidence decides the day. No helm yet, no secret spray. No generic YAL. Not today. Repo truth. Contracts clean. Cluster waits for what we need. AMOF governed workstation. Run. Time truth in operation.
Only receipts below.
Own the loop. Control the flow. AMOF governed workstation. Inference under observation.
No raw prompts, no secret leak.
Receipts online. System speak. Console track. Workstation track. Not the same surface. Same runtime truth. Operator sees. Workstation proves. AMOF moves. Governed workstation.
Console ignition.
Remote IAL.
Receipt transmission.
Governed workstation.
No hallucination.
Main is canonical. AMOF takes control. Session complete. Evidence persisted. No raw secrets.
No fake progress.
AMOF holds the line. Nobody prepared us for this. Not the vendors. Not the architects. Not the hype videos. The runtime was simply given to us. Three monitors glowing. 5 desktops open. Terminal windows breathing softly in the dark. Cursor still running. Notebook LM talking. Lens alive somewhere in the background. Another cigarette burning down. Another 2 beers disappearing quietly. Another 4 a.m. trying to understand what this thing is becoming. We thought we were building software, but we were building living cognition infrastructure. AMOF architect! Govern the runtime. Bound the cognition. Control the flow. AMOF architect! cigarettes through the night, walking circles left and right, listening to the same damn track, trying to map the system back. Cloud cognition multiplying, agents planning, context colliding. Every window another signal, every failure existential. X11 collapsing slowly, runtime drifting in the background. Yet somehow through all the chaos, the architecture still emerges. No polished founder story, no startup fantasy, no clean roadmap. Just operators trying to understand the cognition runtime they inherited. And maybe that's the real story. Not artificial intelligence, but humans trying to remain conscious inside recursive machine systems. AMOF architects fight opaque systems, expose the runtime, govern the inference. Architects, main is truth, receipts remain. AMOF survives, 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 survives. 04:37 a.m. One more cigarette. One more realization. The runtime was given. Now someone has to govern it. Nobody prepared us for this. Not the vendors. Not the architects. Not the hype videos. The runtime was simply given to us. Three monitors glowing, 5 desktops open, terminal windows breathing softly in the dark. Cursor still running, notebook LM talking, lens alive, somewhere in the background. Another cigarette burning down, another 2 beers disappearing quietly. Another 4 a.m. trying to understand what this thing is becoming. We thought we were building software, but we were building living cognition infrastructure. Govern the runtime, bound the cognition, control the flow. AMOF architect, receipts online, inference alive. Truth survives. Cigarettes through the night, walking circles left and right, listening to the same damn track, trying to map the system back. Cloud cognition multiplying, agents planning, context colliding. Every window another signal, every failure existential. X11 collapsing slowly, runtime drifting in the background. Yet somehow through all the chaos, the architecture still emerges. No polished founder story. No startup fantasy. No clean roadmap. Just operators trying to understand the cognition runtime they inherited. And maybe that's the real story. Not artificial intelligence, but humans trying to remain conscious inside recursive machine systems. Fight opaque systems. Expose the runtime. Govern the inference. Main is truth. Receipts remain. AMOF survives. Nobody prepared us for this. Nobody prepared us for this. Not the vendors, not the architects, not the hype videos. The runtime was simply given to us. 3 monitors glowing, 5 desktops open, terminal windows breathing softly in the dark. Cursor still running, notebook Ellen talking, lens alive, somewhere in the background. Another cigarette burning down, another 2 gears disappearing quietly, another 4 a.m. trying to understand what this thing is becoming. We thought we were building software, but we were building living cognition infrastructure. AMOF architect, govern the runtime, bound the cognition, control the flow. AMOF architect, receipts online, inference alive, truth survives. 20 cigarettes through the night, walk in circles left and right, listening to the same damn track, trying to map the system back. Cloud cognition multiplying, agents planning, context colliding. Every window another signal. the tokens in the dark. We watch the meters lie. Zero cost on the screen, but the receipts new. Prompt in, tokens out, generation traced, runtime awake. This is not a wrapper, this is not a dashboard, this is not another local script. This is Ultra Plan 300. Config loaded, context selected, cloud workspace, online. Runtime logs breathing, receipts below. Inference authority watching the flow. Local intake, console intake, remote execution starts to glow. No silent fallback, no fake zero, no more guessing where the loops go. 300 bounded loops, one long run. Every call accounted, every context known. 300 bounded loops, no drift, no disguise. The cost is unknown. The system tells no lies. Ultra Plan 300. Bounded loops, runtime show receipts online. AMOF takes control. Ultra Plan 300. Switch the context, running it remote. Log the cost. Own the flow. Cursor burned hot in the browser light. 400 gone in another night. Tabs kept spawning, context leaked. Every agent hungry, every answer cheap. Then the meter broke and showed us none. Zero cost of a paid run, but the token spoken, the receipt replied. Truth was buried on the provider side, so we pulled the wire through the stack. Hash safe evidence, no secrets back. Generation I cost observed. Runtime truth finally preserved. No more vibes, no more blind runs. No more local chaos pretending to be done. Profile selected, budget enforced, cloud or local. Explicit course. Ultra Plan 300. 300 loops, one long run. Runtime logs, evidence done. Ultra Plan 300. Config layer, cloud workspace. Remote IAL govern base. AMOF takes control. Every loop has a boundary. Every run has a name. Every receipt has a shadow. Every cost has a claim. If it runs in the cloud, say it. If it runs on the laptop, say it. If the provider hides the cost, mark it unknown. But never call unknown zero. Created, context selected, IAL request started, IAL request finished, cost observed, receipt written, runner assigned, execution complete. Again, run created, context selected, bounded loop started, bounded loop finished, runtime logged, evidence sealed. Again. Bounded loops, low, run. Cloud awake, work gets done. Ultra Plan 300. No fake zero, no black box, no lost context, no broken raw. Ultra Plan 300. Runtime truth, receipts below. Inference authority, on the flow. AMOF takes control. 300 bounded loops, not infinite, not blind, not free, measured, logged, receipted, governed. Ultra Plan 300. Ultra Plan 300. Static.